Welcome to 7 Trumpets Prepper, and in this video today we're going to talk to you about something very important.
RFID chips.
And how this affects you. We have a great constitution in this country that ensures us great freedom. I have mine.
I have mine.
Do you have yours? Whenever the Constitution was wrote many years ago, it gave us great freedom, and the Declaration of Independence likewise. These ensure us of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And RFID chips stand the chance of taking all that away from us.
I don't see RFID chips anywhere in this Constitution.
No.
Or that Declaration of Independence.
So let's examine this. We're going to start with just current events and take a look at through history how that just a little bit along governments have tried to control their people beyond the means of what they're supposed to govern. So let's take a look at it. Kevin's going to fill us in.
Yeah, to begin with, let's start what leads up to this chip or this implant that they say. It all started with a birth certificate, which started as far back as 27 BC. And that started with the Egyptians, the Chinese, the ancient Greece, the Roman Empire, Persia. The Roman Empire started it for purpose of taxing its slaves, and then also military power. So we can withdraw those people for the military for enlistment time. Kind of like our selective service, kind of like that. Well, the U.S. started it from the 1900s to 1946, and that's the birth certificates. In 1946, it was improved to better control the record of people and how many people were, being born in the United States. How many people, pretty much America could, control with, and this started way back, and this started with some of those empires that aren't around today that failed. So let's think about that. And then, for birth certificates, then we go ahead and we go on to social security cards or social security numbers. This started in 1935. And it's a 9-digit number. Of course, everybody who's legally here in America, who was born here, has a social security card. And, you also get that with your birth certificate. It's a 9-digit number issued to a permanent resident or a legitimate working temporary resident. Its primary purpose is to track individuals for social security purposes. That is the main purpose of a social security card or a social security number. And then from your social security, you go on to ID, driver's license. And then from there, we go ahead to our evil little friend here, RFID chips. And this right here is a picture of the chip itself. It is a little bit bigger than a grain of rice. Now this thing right here can be implanted into you and you wouldn't even know, turning you into one of these.
Which is sheep. And as a farmer, I can tell you that once an animal becomes tagged, it's just a number going to the slaughter. Our freedom is essential that we protect it. As long as we are vigilant about our freedom, we can keep it. But the day that we give up that vigilance is the day that we lose it. Freedom once lost is lost forever. And that's John Adams that said that. We've got some other quotes here we'd like to read to you today. Patrick Henry said, "Give me liberty or give me death." What is life without liberty? The Bible in the scripture, when we read it, is all about life and love and freedom. That's what our Creator granted to us. And to have that taken away by our fellow mankind just doesn't seem right. What's some more, Kevin?
Those who would give up essential liberty to pursue a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty or safety. And that's going on a lot today. A lot of people depend a whole lot on our government.
We got another one from James Madison. Religion and government will both exist in greater purity the less they are mixed together. Religion, we're kind of touching on that today, but many of the founding fathers were afraid that if the government could ever control people, they would also tell us how we would worship, when we would worship, and who we would worship. And it goes so much further than just the RFID itself. It started out, like Kevin said, with birth certificates. Then it went to Social Security card. Then you see it in your bank cards. People will put plenty of videos up showing RFIDs in your bank cards nowadays. I mean, even the banks are infringing on your personal security. And then it was talk of national ID card. And governments feed off of crises. Once the trumpets begin to start, this is going to give them a perfect opportunity to say, well, we need to track everyone. We need to keep security. You need to give up some of your security so that we can have more safety around, and we can keep a bigger eye on things. Big Brother wants to watch.
The government's been doing that a lot. I mean, as soon as 9/11 happened, what was signed into act? That Patriot Act, which means that they can come into your house if they suspect you as a terrorist. Is that on the Constitution?
No, I can't find it in the Constitution, and I can't find it in the Bill of Rights either.
I've read this through, and I don't see it. I think everybody should carry this with them. This is the Constitution, a little booklet, and you keep this on you. This has all of it. This has the articles, your Bill of Rights. I have it right here. I have my Constitution. If a cop pulls me over and starts asking me something, and I'm like, hey, I don't see that in the Constitution. I've read this through and through. He upholds the Constitution just as well as I did when I served for this country. And he upholds this Constitution as well. And so should all them Republicans, those Democrats. I don't care who you are. They should uphold the Constitution. Our President of the United States should uphold the Constitution.
And I agree with Kevin 100%. This show that we produce to help you prepare for the coming events, we always use "it is written" in the beginning, and always use a scripture quote. The same thing applies to our Constitution. It is written. The ultimate supreme law in this country is this right here. It's not the president, it's not the judicial branch, it's not the legislative branch, it's the Constitution of the United States. And we find more and more every day that you find our politicians, we watch it on YouTube. I mean, you can YouTube this all the time, and they say, oh, the Constitution don't matter.
Yeah,
how many times have you seen
we should
that?
just throw it out, Well,
and that's not
what this
for us.
country is based on. Is the Constitution, forefathers, what they did. Patriots sacrificing that blood so, we could have a free state. Well, I don't feel much like a free state anymore. I went recently and got my handgun permit, and, I had to pay $115 to the state just to get my permit, which they make it seem like it's a privilege, not a right. I know it's in as a right, the right to bear arms. And I had to pay.
And we're not wanting to sound like a militia. Today we're sitting in front of two of the greatest flags ever displayed in this nation because we respect and love our country. We appreciate our patriots of this country, the men and women that served in our armed forces. I'm sitting next to an American hero right here that served to protect our country. We love our nation. We're not some militia or some, crazy group. We just want to get people to wake up. We want you to enjoy freedom and security and peace. We don't want to know what your business is. That is your business, your life. We want you to pursue happiness and be at peace. The government has overstepped its boundaries too much, and we want you to wake up and say something.
And exercise
your freedom or lose it.
That freedom of religion, that freedom to speak out.
And you can find out more about this article. We're going to put the one that about Senator, I believe he's a Senator, Ron Paul.
Senator Dr. Ron Paul.
Put this up.
It's in here, right here. And I don't want to say, I am a Ron Paul supporter. I wish Ron Paul would have, been more involved in it. I don't know what happened there. It's kind of like it seemed to me that it kind of got all buried. But I voted for Ron Paul. I wish Ron Paul would have kind of been the next president. But we'll still see how that goes. I know myself, I'm going to write him in on a poll. And I just, I'm not going to tell you guys we have that right to vote still. I know a lot of people say that voting, what's the point? Personally, I kind of see it that way too. If the big banks don't back them, then they're probably not going to win. So, but this is from Dr. Ron Paul right here. It talks about the RFID chips. Well, I mean, if you want to read
Yeah,
something.
yeah, I'll be. It says this article, once again, we'll have this in the description. It says buried deep within the 1,000 pages of the massive U.S. healthcare bill is a non-discussed section titled subtitle C-11 Section 2521 National Medical Device Registry, and which states its purpose as he quotes that part of the law, and then goes on to say, in real world speak, according to this report, this new law, when fully implemented, provides the framework for making the United States the first nation in the world to require each and every one of its citizens to have implanted in them a radio frequency identification microchip for the purpose of controlling who is or isn't allowed medical care in this country. And it only starts there. You know, it'll begin, government always overreaches. You know, it starts with your medical, then, it's your banking.
Yep.
And then it might even get to the point where, then it's buying and selling at the store. Oh, and that's starting to touch on prophecy. That's almost touching on Revelation. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, be not deceived that, the mark of the beast, people get that so confused that this little device is not the mark of the beast. There's been many things ahead of time, barcodes, ID cards.
Social
This
security
is
number.
the ultimate ticket because, Kevin's already gave great info on it, is whenever that little grain of rice looking device is put in your hand, you're watched everywhere you go. And then you can be forced to worship you against your will, do things against your will, be banned from buying and selling. And yes, that is right in line with Scripture. And that's why one more reason that we're trying to get this info out there, because as much as we try to, help prepare everyone for the 7 trumpets, we're wanting to also get the rest of the information out there because we are living in the final generation. We are seeing things take place that our grandfathers, our great-grandfathers would have never even been able to see. And you got anything else you want to add?
Yeah, remember, when you don't speak out, you don't exercise this right to speak out, you're a slave. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm not a slave. I'm a free man. And I will speak out until there is no wind left in my lungs to speak out. And just take a time to reflect, to think that a lot of these things that are signed into act are done around big celebration times. I know a couple of them were signed into act around Memorial Day and times like that, or it might be New Year's, but these things are being signed into act when the government is going behind its people's backs and signing these things into act. I don't know about you guys, but that sounds a little fishy to me. A little bit of a rant there. But
No, I think it's great. I think it goes along with another quote we got from James Madison. Says, I believe there are more instances of the abridgment of the freedom of the people by gradual and silent encroachments of those in power than by violence and sudden usurpations. What goes on behind closed doors is what we don't see. But just like Messiah stated, that all things that are hidden will be brought forth to light. There's nothing hidden that won't become to light one day. The people will eventually wake up and see these things. So we hope this has been a help to you. Make sure to visit our soundingaloudcry.com. We'll put a link up.
put a couple of links up, especially for what Dr. Ron Paul said about the
we'll get all these
RFID
links up.
chips.
And make sure to visit worldslastchance.com also. But if you go to soundingaloudcry.com, there's a link on the left side down at the bottom where you can link over to worldslastchance.com. We also shared their videos on prophecy on the website. We'll get all the links up. And make sure to visit worldslastchance.com and check out the 7 Trumpets of Revelation series, because as much as we make an effort on this YouTube show to help prepare you, this is the ultimate video for preparing for the 7 trumpets. So until we see you again, remember your Constitution and have the most blessed day in Yahushua's name.